So this stitch is called Guilloche Stitch. The name comes from an architectural term that is used in decorative moldings, and it's typical of this rope-like circular pattern inside two parallel lines. I'm not going to demonstrate how to do this stitch because you already know how to do all the component parts. So let's talk about how this stitch is composed. This one has several stitches working together to create a named stitch. And as you experiment with other stitches and do more research about embroidery, you may come across more and more of these named stitches or these composite stitches. So let's take a look at the component parts of Guilloche Stitch. So to start with, you're going to make two outer lines that are parallel to each other, and you're going to stitch them in stem stitch. And that's the base. Here they're probably about 3/8 of an inch apart. And then in the very center of that, you're going to make 3 short satin stitches right next to each other. So 3 stitches there, here, here, here. The distance between satin stitches is about as long as the satin stitches themselves. So I have about 1/8 of an inch for each stitch and then 1/8 of an inch gap. And they're centered right between those 2 rows of stem stitch. And I've done that in dark blue in this case. Then I've taken this green pearl cotton and I've come up at one end underneath the satin stitches so that the end is hidden. And I've laced it underneath the other satin stitches in this S shape along all the satin stitches. At the end, I looped around and gone the other direction so that the 2 loops offset each other and create a circle. And so that forms the second layer, which I've done here in green. And then to finish it off, you're going to put a little knot right in the center between the satin stitches and in the center of that circle that was created. So here I've done French knots. You could also use a colonial knot if that's easier. And this is great because you can add a lot of texture and a very decorative border. Here I've done it in 3 colors. You could do it in a single color, you could do it in multiple shades of a single color, or you can get really bright and colorful with this one. So this is a great opportunity to start thinking about all the things you've learned in both the beginner and the intermediate embroidery classes, how you can combine those stitches, and to start looking out there and seeing what other more complex stitches people have created over the years. And so this guilloche stitch is just one of those examples where some very simple stitches from the beginner class and some simple concepts create a very elaborate border.